Let's talk more now about the Syrian refugees that are coming to New Jersey, are already here in New Jersey, and a little bit about Chris Christie and politics with Bob Jordan, who is with the Asbury Park Press and APP.com. Thanks for coming back.
Hi, Larry.
We ended the last segment with both the mayor and the pastor talking about Chris Christie and whether this was done for politics. As a matter of fact, the pastor said that Chris Christie, in his view, owes the state an apology. I would imagine you don't think that apology's coming.
It might not be coming, but we'll see. We'll see.
Is this for political reasons?
It seems to be. Different commentators, analysts have looked at this, and every 4 years we see Republican presidential candidates racing to the right on everything.
To be fair, Democratic candidates race to the left.
This is true, and then everybody comes to the middle when we have final candidates. But Christie, if you recall, at the start of the election cycle, he went as far as to suggest that we track our immigration population with, as Federal Express would track packages. And he stepped back from that and nuanced it after that. But we constantly have seen top Republican candidates come out with statements that seem like wow, nuance it from there. Christie retreated a little bit from his original statement about which Syrian refugees he'd allow in. He said the whole thing's about vetting. He blamed Obama, but the impact was there. It drew attention from the conservatives that he needs if he's going to become the Republican nominee.
Now let's talk about how he's doing, because he has been on TV a lot, and much of it because of this stance he's taken on the Syrian refugee program. He was out in front in this as one of the governors. 32 governors said they were going to stop this. They were not going to accept Syrian refugees. He's the one that got on television all the time talking about it. And because of that, and maybe despite of it, I'm not sure how it played out, in the polls he's had quite a jump in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's, you know, it appeals to that conservative base. This is exactly what they want to hear. Poll after poll talk about how people have that fear on the right. The more right people seem to be, the more right the more they have concerns about terrorism, justified in many cases. There was a poll on Donald Trump that USA Today did that said even if Trump ran as a third-party candidate, 2/3 of the people who support him now would go ahead and vote as a third-party candidate, which would, you know, decimate the chances of the Republicans winning the White House. So it's almost above party politics at this point. It's conservatives want somebody who's talking to them, and Christie's done that at times. And as you mentioned, at points, whoever wins the nomination on the Republican side is going to have to make that turn back, stop going to the right, come to the center, try to get independents and crossover Democrats.
Right, and again, I'm just going to point out that they both make that turn. I mean, they both have to go like this to play to their base, and then they both come back to the center. And I think it might be easier for Chris Christie to do than most of the other candidates. I don't think Ted Cruz may take that turn back to the center. I'm not sure that some of the other candidates who might have a chance may be able to make that turn as easily as Chris Christie will be able to make it.
Christie's the only Republican presidential candidate who has a history of appealing to Democrats. Democrats went strong for Christie in 2013 when he won his second term as governor. He's appealed to New Jersey independents. He's kind of not having that romance at the present time with the Democrats and independents in New Jersey, but he's got that history where he has been able to get them in. Will we be able to pull them back in if he's a nominee in 2016? That remains to be seen.
And certainly not in New Jersey, it sounds like.
No, but who knows? He may do what he did in 2013, say the same things he did in 2013, act the same way he did in 2013. It seems like to those people, he's been totally different over the last 6 months.
I'm just basing it on the current polls when I say certainly not to New Jersey, because it seems like it'd have a hard time winning them back. But to your point, and you're absolutely right, the polls at this point, we have to remember, except in Iowa and New Hampshire, are all but meaningless. Because there's so many things that are going to happen over the next couple of months.
And, you know, Iowa Republicans, they don't make up their mind until the last 10 days, 2 weeks. A lot of studies have shown that. So we really won't know what's going on until late January.
Yeah, but you know what? All of a sudden, I think people think he has a shot. Where a month ago, nobody thought he had a shot.
Exactly, exactly. New Hampshire voters think he has a shot. There's 49 other states to follow. They may follow. Who knows?
Yeah, you forget what a great campaigner he is. Bob, thank you so much. Bob Jordan from the Asbury Park Press. He covers politics for them. He's also, you can read his stuff on app.com. When we come back, there have been a series of terrorist attacks over the last couple of months. So how do you survive if there is an active shooter in your building? Veronica Dudo talks to an expert about that when we come back.